as you guys can tell, I fell asleep again last night. And you know who else was asleep? The Toronto Maple Leafs. As they lose. They lose all 3 games in the West Coast trip. They get 1 point out of a possible 6. And you lose 2-1 to the Anaheim Ducks. The thing that has been the Leafs' savior has been offense. And in the last, I guess, all 3 games on the West Coast trip, the Leafs have had no offense at all. They scored 2 goals against the Sharks. Nothing against the Kings, except for a shootout goal by Nylander, which you lost anyways. And then you lost 2-1 to the Ducks. Jack Campbell and Frederik Andersen playing great hockey. Campbell allowed 2 goals on 28 shots. He's been solid. Yet the Leafs can't score. I mean, look, they gave up the goal in the first 5 minutes, guys. Rowney, it's Carter Rowney, isn't it? Yeah, Carter Rowney scores his 8th goal of the year, and it's a 1-0 game. Then the Leafs can't get any offense going. They have a rough first period offensively. 13-8 in shots in favor of the Ducks. And then in the second period, the Leafs come out of the gate good. But then they close the period terribly. They lose 13-8 again in shots. And then they finally decide to come on in the third period and win 15-2 in shots. Problem, one of their 2 shots was a goal, Adam Henrique unassisted, 10-20 into basically midway through the third period. And then, Nylander scored his 30th goal of the season to make it a 1-goal game with 3 minutes left. The first goal for the Leafs in a period, or 5 straight periods, which is terrible. Almost 6 periods even. But you can't complete the comeback, and you lose 2-1. So, I know I said in the last video about, the Leafs just need to get in. And I'm still at that frame of mind. When they're losing the way they're losing right now, it is very hard to have that type of mentality. The only positive I can take from this West Coast trip at all is that it's over. That's it. Look, the goaltending was good, other than Jack Campbell in the first game, but his whole team hung him out to dry that game, so you can't really blame him too much. And Freddie was great. Obviously, he didn't allow a goal, and then the shootout happened. And then yesterday, 2 goals and 28 shots for Jack Campbell, and the Leafs only scored 1. So, it was the offense on the road trip that really lost this game. And you can say, well, they lost 5-2 in the first game. Really, the goaltending and defense lost them that. You only scored 2 goals, and yet it was a 2-2 hockey game in the third period. So, no, it was your goal scoring that lost you all 3 games. Now, we know what this team is all about. We know this Leaf team can score at will, and they're going to have times where they don't score much. And I'm okay with it being against Western Conference teams that mean nothing, right? I get it. They're teams that you should beat. I completely agree. But now the Leafs come back to, normal time zones, but they welcome in the Tampa Bay Lightning. On Tuesday night, Vasilevsky, Andersen are the expected goaltenders in that game on Tuesday. And for the Leafs, look, it looks like it's going to be the first round matchup. In the NHL playoffs, barring, Boston collapsing and Florida going insane to end the season, which I can't see happening. But the Tampa Bay Lightning are 9 points back of the Bruins. We're 10 back of Tampa. Obviously, we know Florida's 5 back of us. So as of right now, if the playoffs started today, the Tampa Bay Lightning would be taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs in round 1 of the playoffs. So we beat Tampa. I think it was 4-3 in Tampa. That was when the Leafs were on that terrible stretch, and then they won 3 straight afterwards. Now you face that same team at Scotiabank Arena on Tuesday. And I wouldn't say it's a statement game because it really isn't. What I've learned with hockey is that there's no such thing as a statement game. There really, until playoffs happen, and let's say you win a Game 6 or a Game 7 against Tampa Bay Lightning, maybe that's a statement. But nothing in the regular season, to me, is a statement game. Would it be nice to beat Tampa? No question about it. You know why? Because it gives the Leafs 2 points. And it shows that you can compete against a really good hockey team. But right now, for the next few days, I know every single Leaf fan is glued to their app, either the Score or NHL Game Center, or whatever the heck you use, and looking at the Florida Panthers scores. Because they play twice. Like I said in the last video, they play on Saturday, tonight, and they play on Monday. And those are huge games. Because they will pick up their 2 games in hand over the next few days. And that'll give us a really big idea of how this is all going to end. They win both and they're only a point back of us, then we're still up in the air. If they lose both, same amount of games played, 5 points in a 5-point lead, no games in hand for Florida. And that's a huge situation for the Leafs. Even if they win 1, we're still in an okay situation. So the Leafs can't do anything right now. I said in the last video, the Leafs control their own destiny. Well, they've stunk it over the last 3 games. They got to find a way to put the puck in the net. I mean, they will do so. And I'm hoping it's sooner rather than later. But, look, they need to come out flying against Tampa. And then you play Thursday at home against Nashville. I'm actually going to that game against Nashville on the Thursday night. So that's going to be a good contest. Then you play Boston in Boston on Saturday. Some big contests coming up against some really good hockey teams. The Leafs have played 3 teams who are not very good. My assumption is that they went into it thinking it's going to be a cakewalk and they're going to have no problem. Well, they clearly had a problem because they didn't win any of them. Now you're facing probably the first round matchup in the NHL playoffs on Tuesday. You come out and you play like you did over the last 3 games, you're going to get your clock cleaned. But if they play hard, like we saw in the 3 games prior to that, then they have a very big chance of winning. But what Leaf team are we going to see? And that is the big question. Great to see Cody Ceci back out there yesterday, though. And Liljegren got sent down as we kind of expected that to happen. And it bolsters the Marlies a little bit, as well as allows him to continue to develop and take that NHL experience he learned up here back to the Marlies and continue to grow. And I'm going to go a little check in here to see what any updates on guys like Muzzin and Morgan Riley and whatnot, because we heard that they're doing okay. But let's see what any news here. So facing 4-week absence, that was over a week ago for Jake Muzzin, so he's probably still a ways away. Morgan Riley on track to return next week. That was 4 days ago. We all heard that news. So there's nothing new on that front. We're just hoping and praying that we see some good things from this team moving forward, because obviously how many games are left? We played 69 games. So that was game 69 yesterday. So that is, 13 games remaining. Possible 26 points. It's a lot of hockey. And we're only up 5 on Florida. That's why it's far from over. And that's why we got to scoreboard watch a little bit. All right? So, guys, you know what? That is going to do it for this one. Again, another stinker last night. So, really, what are we going to sit here and talk about? How bad they were? No. Because we talked about some positives. We talked about Nylander scoring his 30th goal of the season. Already more than his dad ever scored in a season. And he's a 30-goal scorer. Just going to leave that there. Jack Campbell played great. But we're going to leave it at that, all right? So, you know what, guys? Like I said, thank you guys so much for listening. And hit that like button if you guys enjoyed the video and not the game. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below your thoughts on the video, your thoughts on the game. What were your thoughts on the last night's Leaf game? What were your thoughts on the last 3 games for the Toronto Maple Leafs? Have they looked okay, just not getting any bounces? Have they looked terrible? And what are your thoughts on the Leafs over the last 3 games? Yes, 3 losses in a row is never going to look pretty. However, if you watch the game in depth, you'll be able to tell me how this team actually played and why. That's what I want to hear from you guys. All right, let me know in the comments below everything about this team. And Twitter is down below for myself. Follow up, send me a DM, do all that great stuff. Also, the Patreon link is down below. So if you're interested in signing up for that, the link is down below. All right, and I will talk to you guys Raptors edition tomorrow as they are in Sacramento taking on the Kings, looking for win number 3 in a row for the Toronto Raptors. 9 o'clock tip-off there in Sacramento on Sunday. All right, as Raptors, look to continue on a roll. Get on a nice little roll here on the road because they got a first night of a back-to-back against Utah in Sacramento tomorrow. So you got to find a way to do a job in the first night before you even worry about the better team on the second half. All right, and as for our Leafs, as we've talked about, they continue to stress us out. They continue to show us how bipolar they are this season, and they look to go from garbage to great because that's just the way this season has been all year. as they welcome in the Tampa Bay Lightning to Scotiabank Arena there on Tuesday night. It's a 7 o'clock puck drop there. Vasilevsky and Anderson are the expected goaltenders in that game. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Talk to you guys then.